Hello and welcome to Movers and Shakers. I'm Ken Miller. Today I'm joined by 4th District Leavenworth County Commissioner Mike Smith. Still feels a little strange for me to say that long title in there.
Yeah, me too, Ken.
But we'll get down to business. As we get further into 2022, and we're recording this in mid-January, what can you tell us about the status of Leavenworth County's financial situation? I know one of the priorities you talked about when you started on the commission was to reduce the number of lawsuits the county had to deal with.
That's
And as I read the paper and as I follow the commission on YouTube, I think you guys have done that. I don't see you going into legal executive sessions as much. But talk about the financial condition of the county.
The county is in really good shape. They're taking a lot of the art money that's available for bridges. We're doing a lot of things like that. But one of the things I want to do is I share this with the county commissioners and the county administrator. I got tired of seeing Leavenworth in the paper about lawsuits. And
Leavenworth County.
Leavenworth County.
Right,
I'm staying corrected. Leavenworth County and lawsuits, and there's ways to fix these things. And one of the ways was, we can only handle so much. Elected officials are responsible for their only area, but they have to be held accountable too. So I think from the conversations and some of the things we've doing on trainings, things like that, we got that under control. But anybody can sue anybody at any time. But some of the major ones that we were facing have been settled, dismissed, or reduced. So we're in pretty good shape there. As far as the financial, county is very healthy. I got to give credit to Mark, our county administrator. He's a numbers guy. He really does a great job with numbers and keeps the thing flowing right along. So, as far as that goes and what we see in the future, we're in good shape.
Okay, all right. And I haven't heard about this in the last few commission meetings, but I know it took up a lot of your 2021, especially at the end. But what's the status of the old Cushing Hospital? It was purchased by the county last year, and I know there are agencies and entities that are going to be moving in there. Where are we at that?
Okay. Actually, it was given to the county.
Okay.
It was.
Did you have to pay $1 for it or something like that?
We may have paid too much for $1 or something like that. It was something like that. Yeah, just to go through. You're right. But it's been moving right along. One of the things we wanted to do was get some of the council on aging in places that are out renting somewhere else that aren't county buildings, brought under one area, and they are council on aging. There's the mental extension, and a couple other things. I'm drawing a little bit of a blank here that are starting. Have been done, but the council on aging is one I'm really, and they do so much in the area. So they're as we speak, there's things being redone. Now there's more space available that we're going to look at, and we're probably going to offer it up to some other folks if they want it that receive county bucks, that we could probably save them some money and save us some money. But we'll have to see what that goes. But it's coming along. But the mental health folks that rented to one floor are basically paying for everything, and our maintenance bill is not going to be probably zero because that building's so large. You got to heat it. You got to But we had this mental health behavior company, a nationwide company, jump on real quick, and they took an entire floor and they're renting it for us. And we worked out a really good deal with them. So it's going to help everybody.
So, and this may be more of a guesstimate because contractors work at their own pace. But when do you expect to see agencies? When do you expect to see inhabitants of that building? I
would say we're looking at this year. I would say sometime this summer. They're in the progress right now. We've already okayed the funding for a lot of this stuff, and a lot of it's being done through the money I was talking about, the money again from the federal government. But I expect to see them this year sometime.
Okay, all right. From a transportation project perspective, and I know this is something you and I worked on back when you were with Lansing, but it looks like all 3 of the 2015 sales tax projects have been completed. Of course, McIntyre here in Lansing, 147th between Basehor and Lansing. And then, of course, the Eisenhower Road project, which I think we just had the ribbon cutting for a couple months ago. So all done. From the commission's perspective, what's the transportation upgrade that you guys need to be tackling next? And I'm not talking about a pavement job out in the county or throwing rocks somewhere, but I'm talking about a major one.
Well, one of the things that the county has kicked the can down the road, as we like to say up there, is a lot of our county bridges. Ken, they are 60, 70, 80 years, and we've got a bunch of them that are being paid for by grants. Bill out there, our public works director, does a real good job on grants, and so we see a lot of that. The other thing we're looking at too is, we've got the transportation plan that the county and is put money into in all the cities, and that's going to be coming, that's about an 18-month project. But one of the things I look at, and I think I can say a lot of the county commissioners look at, is the new bridge that we're trying to do out here in Lansing on Eisenhower Gateway. And in fact, I met with Senator Moran yesterday, U.S. Senator Moran, and talked about funding for such a project because there's going to be money available. One thing I want to make clear, though, that so people understand, is a lot of people say, well, we don't want to take anything away from the Centennial Bridge, and they're two different funds. Centennial Bridge is on the list now. It'll be built in
For KDOT, right?
Yeah,
right.
24 or 25. This is money that's coming down the line. So we want cities to support them both, and for the most part, we're seeing that happen. So I don't know if I'll see it in my time being in office or whenever, but I think that's something that will just develop this area, and I really believe we're going to see that kick off because we keep working with Missouri on this too.
Right. So I know Commissioner Culberson is a big champion for it's the 152 bridge. And one of the selling points, as you've just pointed out, was that you're not talking about public money necessarily, you're talking about private money. So I don't know if you've talked to Commissioner Culberson, because that's one of the things we really haven't heard that much about recently is the attempts to try and get private investors.
Well, what happened, a few months ago, we formed a commission to go out and look for that. And because it's been done in omnibus and something like that, they came back and they said, it would work, but the timing may not be just right. So we disagreed. And so what we really found out was, and this is about the same time the federal money became available, so what you're going to probably see is federal money we're going to go after in the time. In fact, we got to apply for it sometime this year. I think next 90 or 28 days, if we can get all the cities on board to go after that federal money out of DC, so we can have it built off that and not touch any of the other.
Like for a study to see how that would be built.
No, we went the whole thing. We're trying to get. It's all part of the big plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Keeping with kind of economic development, because transportation obviously plays a role in economic development. You and I have talked, and I know the county has talked about hiring a new economic development person. So where are you with that? Has that person started yet, or is there a projected starting date? Where's that at?
A week ago Monday, we hired Tom Cole started for us.
Tom Cole.
Yeah,
okay.
he's been a city administrator, assistant. His big field is in economic development in the Kansas City area, Johnson County, Missouri. We're very fortunate when we out advertising. I met with him. I chat with him every day. I'm very pleased. And one of his first few assignments was we wanted an economic plan for the county. There's never been one. There's been one for certain sections and like that. So one of his first job, but he's going to be meeting with all the cities and unincorporated areas like Leavenworth and Easton to bring us all together and start doing things. He is very good at continuing to grow economic and grants. We're not going to duplicate services that our city have, but we are going to have somebody that's a focal point that can bring us together. So if you get a chance to stop in, he's upstairs right outside my office. Come and see him. Really a sharp guy. I'm really impressed with him.
Okay, so it begs the question, I think you can expect what I'm going to ask next. What's the role of the Leavenworth County Development Corporation, LCDC?
When I came into it, LCDC, there were some county commissioners that just weren't not that they weren't happy. They were happy they were doing their job, but they weren't convinced that this is where the money should be spent. And I've had complaints over the years from Lansing, from Baser, from other cities saying, listen, what are we getting for our tax dollar? So I formed a committee. Now I'm telling you, it was a rough 4-month committee trying to get everything resolved. It didn't work out, but what we did was we were still able to get the county commissioners to put in half the funding. So instead of having the $320,000, they're getting $150,000. But what we asked was the cities that were receiving benefits in industrial parks, Leavenworth, Tongi, to ante up, and they did.
Okay.
So we've done that. So we took the money that we saved there, and that's what paid for this job here, so we wouldn't have to hit mill levy. LCDC still, and Steve Jack just retired, but LCDC still plays a big role in this county along with the Port Authority. But our vision was, you need something else to help this county grow. There's no reason we're not growing like our surrounding counties. So we think this is the right way to go, and time will tell, but I know we got the right person in there to make that happen, Ken.
And just to go back to an earlier question, LCDC, I believe, is one of the agencies that you're going to put in Cushing. Is that,
We asked them. We've asked
Okay.
them. We've asked them. I think they're waiting for the new director to be hired.
Okay.
And that's what I was leading to. We made them the offer if they would like to come out there because that would save them some money.
Right.
You know, because they're renting right now. I don't know if that's where they want to be downtown, but there's a couple of them that we support that we'd like to see come.
Yeah, their current location is very close to the industrial park.
I know.
So, yeah, you can understand that.
Yeah, and we do.
All right, and maybe this is a more broad question, but I think this is the key question when it comes to economic development. But how does the commission make sure that Leavenworth County is business friendly to grow the tax base, while at the same time making sure businesses follow the rules set forth by your zoning and land use rules?
You know, this has been an interesting challenge for me when I came up there. This is the difference between city and county government. The county has a lot of special use permits, which are good. They bring in a lot of tax dollars. A lot of people make a living and stuff like that. But right before I got on board a year ago, the new comprehensive plan had been updated. And there were some things for 2.5 tracks and 5, and that's where we're hearing it. The problem is not so much that, I'm you know me, Ken. I'm very pro-business and treat people and take them. But where we get in the issues is we'll try to bring a business into somewhere in the county, something like that, and a lot of residents don't want it.
Right.
And so we have to say, okay, does this fit the comprehensive plan? Also, does it fit the neighborhood environment? And these people are wanting it not to happen. And sometimes it's a tough call. So all I can tell the staff and Mark, our city county administrator, and the planning is that you got to give people options. If it's not approved by the planning commission, it still comes to the county commissioners. So there's a couple layers extra that it can be heard out to make sure we do it. I am pro commercial and pro residential growth, but you know there's some folks that have had some tracts of land and they've had it for generations, and somebody will buy off a piece and want to put a couple houses in, and they're just not happy about it. So it's tough. I can tell you, most of the county commissioners that I talk to, they struggle with this.
Right.
And so there's a review doing of the comprehensive plan as we speak, and we'll see how that plans out. But there's been some tough decisions made, but I'm always going to go err on the part of what's the best for that area, but also growth.
It was before your time, and we want to be very clear about that, but how much do you think the county is still suffering from the Tyson effect?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I think, you know, once you do that, whether you were pro or against, first of all, I don't think it was handled right. And I've told everybody who was involved in that, I didn't think it was handled right. Not enough meetings, not enough public input. But once you turn down a corporation, no matter what it is, you turn down a corporation, it's hard to get another large corporation to come look at your city. Now, you know,
They don't want to go through the fight.
They do not want to go to the fight.
Right.
I was up there on another thing for the city of Lansing. When they had
Yeah, I was with you. We went
That's
there.
right.
We went for the chicken and turkey dinner.
That's
right.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And you know, I'd never seen such a thing like that. And I talked to Steve Jack, and I talked to other county commissioners who are not on the county now. And they asked me what I thought, and I said we should have the public more involved.
Yeah.
And if we'd done that, then maybe it'd been a little different, because there are so many unanswered questions. You know, when you rush things, sometimes you get that.
Right, and that's a great point you bring up, because I always wonder, and I think a lot of people wonder, how did the Tyson failure? Why did the Tyson failure happen? Was it more because of the type of business it was, or was it more because a lot of people who were against it felt you guys tried to push this past us without us seeing it?
Yeah, I think you can probably balance that out pretty even what I heard, but I think they both came into play
Right.
again. I think you're right on the mark on that.
Right. Okay. Lastly, if you had to make one prediction about Leavenworth County in 2022, and the place is moving and shaking, not to take off on the name of this program, but whether it's Cushing, whether you've got some economic development things in the hopper, but what's your one prediction for the county in 22?
Well, in 22, I would think you're going to continue to see residential growth really take off. I also think that you're going to see some more roads that are being, you got to have good roads. That's all there is to it from the county. And with the commercial and everything that's going on, but I also see there's a lot of cooperation that we're doing now with each other. And Ken, that when you go out for a grant, the state or federal government will say, okay, what does Leavenworth or Baser think about what you're trying to do? Mm-hmm. If they're on board, you go to the top of the list. Mm-hmm. If you're not, your funding stays the level. If we can continue working well together and letting people take their personal feelings out of it, You know, and people will say, Mike, you're out of your mind. But I guarantee you, in 20 years, I bet you we're another 40,000, 50,000 people. I really see the growth. And now that I've been up the county and see all the plats and everything coming in, Ken, it's going to explode if we stay on the right thing and just do what's right for the county. And that means working together with the cities and even the unincorporated area and doing like that. People are going to want to be here. And if this bridge comes fruition, ever comes, that'll just open up the Lansing, Baser, and the Leavenworth area. Unbelievable.
All right, I've been speaking with Mike Smith. He's the 4th District Leavenworth County Commissioner. For Movers and Shakers, I'm Ken Miller.